What is up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? My name is Jade, and I'm back with Simon. Simon, how you going, mate? Oh, it looks like he's not even in his chair yet. Here we are. Simon, good
Yep.
evening to you.
Good evening, Jade. You just caught me getting my safe space ready for this stream, locking myself in my little cave. So, all ready to go now.
So I did a bit of the promo this morning.
Mm-hmm.
We're about to go. We're about to go real deep, and as you know, I'm black and I'm slow, and I had to read that whole thing, and you're gonna have to walk me through it. But ladies and gentlemen, Simon has bought a real doozy this evening. We're gonna be discussing elite society and essentially human slash sex trafficking and all the ins and outs around it. I said to Simon just prior to coming on that due to the thread that I've just read, and I spent a bit of this afternoon trying to understand it, I'm going to need intensive counselling. Simon, so thanks for that, and I'll send you the bill. But before that, I do have a question for you, Simon. Last night there was the First Leaders debate. I will accept if you didn't see it, but if you did, who do you think won?
I saw a grand total of about a minute of the footage. No, I didn't pay attention. I didn't watch the whole thing. It didn't really interest me. It's just the two main parties. I didn't really. I just, from the premise of the debate, I knew it wasn't going to be of any substance, and all of the commentary I've seen on my social media space said that there was little substance from both sides. So I thought, I think I won by avoiding it.
Nice. For me, just in terms of picking a winner, I suppose I'm going to have to give it to Judy. Judy actually spoke to some of the key issues. I actually felt like she had a plan to address the needs of our country. I just felt she's stronger. I'm not a national person. I'm not a Labour person, but that is my genuine take on what happened. And I'm noticing we're dropping frames, so I'm gonna do what I did last week, and hopefully we'll get some CPU back. I love the fact that I'm dropping frames because I'm building a strong business case to be able to buy a new PC. So I'm not complaining about that whatsoever, but I gotta get it past Hannah. Anyway, before we get into what Simon has for us today, and I've still got a migraine about it, we do have a question of the day. And Simon, of course you're here, so you'll have the first opportunity to respond. I'll put it up on screen now. Who is more oppressed, a feminist white woman or a black man? Who is more oppressed, a feminist white woman or a black man? And I'll hand it over to you, Simon, for that one.
Just dissecting the question a little bit. It's interesting that you just said black man, but a feminist white woman. In the eyes of their own head, that doesn't make sense. In their own eyes, in their own head, you'd probably put your money on the feminist woman, thinking that they're more oppressed.
Ooh, interesting. So the natural follow-up is, why do you say that?
Because the overarching privilege, or the ultimate privilege, and amongst all the privileges that are being discussed in current day society, is the male privilege.
So you believe in the patriarchy. Big shout out to Bogmeyer in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you. So is the
I don't
patriarchy a
know.
thing?
Yeah, well, so the majority of powerful positions in terms of private and public sector, for the most part of history, have been dominated by men.
But
So, I
but
mean,
does that mean a patriarchy exists, or that men are just more logical beings
I think
and are
what it
more
means,
capable of doing that work?
I think what it means is that when they do the job of creating laws, building businesses, they design it in a way that it works for them. They don't have a good understanding of the experience of anybody that doesn't look like them. And when you don't understand or consult with people that aren't you, you implicitly or explicitly design things that exclude or disadvantage the people that don't look like you. For example, something close to home, Jade, if you trusted non disabled people with designing all of your disability policy, I think you would have some comments about them being effective in their role because they don't have first hand experience. It makes their job harder, right? They could do a good job, but it makes their job harder doing that. So, in the same vein, I think that across society, men dominate the powerful positions. So
Okay,
they just
so
don't do a good job of designing a life that works well for everybody else.
I feel the need to respond here naturally. Um,
Yep.
so the Minister for Disability currently is a non-disabled woman, and our
Yep.
Prime Minister is a woman. Um, so yeah, I'm just. Do you think New Zealand is a patriarchy, for example, on that basis?
Well, I think the Minister of Disability Issues and the current Prime Minister alone can't undo decades of male domination. Well, male majority. I don't want to say domination because that's too strong. I would say throughout, I mean, our laws get implemented and very rarely changed, or they just get amended. And
So,
I don't
so
think we've just because we've had one term and then a very recent couple of terms strung together by Helen Clark, they haven't had the opportunity to make the change or the willingness, I guess, to change things.
who
As
told
much as
you that the patriarchy exists?
I've heard it. I've heard it. I've heard it across the ether of social media. Some
Yeah, that's not a
some
great place for intel, though. You realize that?
Yeah, I know. There's some TV shows, both fictional and non-fictional, um, and then I guess there's a small amount of uh, private long form discussion uh, platforms that mention the patriarchy, podcasts, things like that.
So,
Um,
real quick, because we do need to get to the show.
yeah.
Um, I'm I'm just wondering what systems you've created to oppress women, because you said that men create systems to disadvantage people not like us. So, what systems or situations around you have you created to oppress women?
I suppose I wouldn't really have many opportunities to do that. I don't have any ability to to affect like employment law or
Oh shit! Here we
education.
go. So, are you one of those ones that actually believe in the gender pay gap?
I'm still undecided, but what I think is unfair is that biologically females menstruate, and it the dealing with that is probably going to impact on their working life, and I think there's no reflection of that in the way we work. I mean, there's no extra sick leave for females. I don't know if that's the way to address it, but I mean, I'm sure that would help. There's the fact that
you believe women should get leave to be able to menstruate for a week?
I'm not saying that that's the right way to do it, but it would help if that was how it worked. I mean, it's a scientific fact that you're in pain and your hormone levels change from when you're not menstruating. So there's going to be an impact on the way you work.
This is
it probably
amazing.
is. Yeah, I'm not like advocating for a week of leave every month for chicks so they can menstruate in peace at home, but there's just no acknowledgement of the biological difference between male and female in the workplace that I see. That's obvious.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never heard it that way.
Here's one more point just before you go.
Go ahead.
Men probably don't get asked, "Are you looking to have a child anytime soon?" when they go for job interviews. The fact that women are the ones that carry a child and have to take parental leave to have kids, it affects their job prospects because people don't want to employ someone that's going to be out of action for maybe close to a year.
I need help with that statement. So you're saying men don't get asked if they're going to have children because we don't carry children?
Yeah.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't carry children, therefore for 9 months we can go to work.
Yeah, but why? It's unfair for a woman to lose out on a job opportunity or to not be considered as an ideal candidate because there's the risk that she'll have kids.
I'll tell you what it is. It's because of our fucked up socialist system that says if a new employee comes and gets pregnant, you've got to pay however many weeks of free money to that person. I do question whether some people set it up like that. They go to a new job and they just have a kid and take the next, 9 months sort of moping around and then getting a free month or two off work. I've literally seen it happen.
Have you?
I have.
No, I've never seen it happen. Yeah.
Like, not recently, so don't get weird about any reference that I'm making, but I've definitely seen it happen. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't. I wasn't gonna say that doesn't happen, but
yeah,
I think it's unfair, and even just by saying unfair, the world isn't supposed to be fair, but we should do what we can to make it equitable.
Yeah. So if you ran a business, and like, let's say there was someone who you thought could bring real value and skills to the team, but you kind of had a sense of her age bracket and everything like that. You'd never even ask what the plans were. You'd just be like, not ask.
You can't really. It's actually illegal.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that yesterday, I think. Yeah. No, you're right. But yeah, I think the way businesses get around that now is they take a best guess on things.
Well, you can ask things like, "Oh, do you have a partner? How long have you been together? When were you married?" You can talk about that, and then you can get a pretty good gauge of like, all right, married, stable family life, and they don't have any kids yet. It's probably going to happen in a year or two.
Yeah. Okay, so the patriarchy exists and white women are oppressed. Thanks for...
And I don't think it's as purposeful as what the vocal minority say. I call them the vocal minority because I think the majority of feminists aren't as what's the word? Not divisive, hostile. They aren't as hostile in their activism.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the majority just want to be recognized as equals, or equals and different, equally different. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's hard because there's the whole movement towards gender not making a difference, but there is biological difference. Like there's this it's not like a paradox, but it's like parallel but opposing campaigns coming from the left in that that women should be treated as equal, and that their differences should be recognized, but then also that gender doesn't make a difference. Like the way you can have trans athletes competing in boxing matches. I guess it's like a bit of a cliche example, but it's true. Like there's trans women, so men who have transitioned to female, partaking in combat sports, and I don't have I don't agree with that. Let's just say it like that. I think that's not okay. I think
There's
it's
somewhere
unsafe.
where we can agree because for me it's sort of like you know I think the pursuit of equality is actually silly. I feel like men play a role in society. I feel like women play a role in society. I feel like women have forgotten the valuable, integral, appropriate role they used to play in society because of radical lesbian feminists. But hopefully, one day we can get back there,
Yeah.
where a man and a woman contributed to their communities in equally important but noticeably different ways.
Absolutely.
Never would I say something like women should just be in the kitchen, but I would say in terms of a community development, community connectedness role, in terms of helping the development of their children, women are amazing, empathetic beings, and every day I I'm in awe of how women can connect with people. Guys are weird. We don't like to connect. We just talk shit all the time and maybe punch each other to show affection. That's what we do. We don't do what women do, and I think that's highly appropriate, and that makes sense to me.
Mm. Yeah. Like the more I learn about traditional Māori culture, the more I think they had it pretty close to right. They recognized the difference between men and women, but they didn't place the man as the highest status of the woman. Like wives weren't their property. It was uh, a partnership in raising children and
Yep,
participating in
yep,
life. And
yep,
it was almost like it was of servitude to be the man in front of the woman
yep,
being their protector. It wasn't like
yep,
I'm better than you, so I
yep,
should be protected. It was like you are this thing that could produce life and weave communities together. So
yep.
I need to take on this role as being the warrior of- and doing these physical tasks. It wasn't like, oh, we're better than you. It was that was the role that we played and best served.
Yep, and I know you can see me because my camera's on, so I'm violently agreeing. I'm violently
Yeah.
agreeing. Like that's how I've always seen it, and kind of just to add a slightly related but almost irrelevant point, it's the same in Italian culture. That the men are at service of the woman. Like you have no idea. Like, what makes you a man in Italian culture is how much you can provide for the woman to do the things she wants to do for the family. It's amazing. So I never want people to get this idea that what do I want to say? That I'm like a toxically masculine person, or I feel that women are subservient to men. No way. That I'm not on record for that. I don't believe in that. I think women are amazing. Men are not what they are without women. Like I think, and equally, I think it's time for feminist radical lesbians to understand that women are not what they are without men. Like yin and yang, yeah, you can't have one without the other, even though you might think you can. But thank you, Simon. You have what's the word? You have humored me with allowing me to ask you the question of the day. And if you're in the chat this evening and you want to take part in the stream, a good way to do that is to give us your response to the question. And I'm going to throw it up one more time before we head into the meat and potatoes of the stream. The question is, who was more oppressed, a feminist white woman or a black man? Feel free to get in the chat and let us know what you think. Either way, or maybe you have an alternative view. We'd love to hear it. Now, Simon, I don't have a single segue into this next one. I wondered if you wouldn't mind dropping the link in the chat, or was that going to be my job? I can
do that for you.
Have you got it handy, or?
Yep.
Splashy is in the chat. What's going on, Splashy? I wonder if Splashy might be interested in this next conversation, but we'll see. It's going to get pretty heavy. I would issue a trigger warning, but I'm not really sure what I'm issuing a trigger warning for. It's just a little bit deep. And as I said at the front of the show, Simon, I'm black and I'm slow, so you're going to have to walk us through.
Yeah, totally. It's,
Did you want me to be screen capping the thread, or did you just want to talk to it?
How would you think it would best work?
If everybody at home could just click on the link and follow, I don't think it'll be meaningful content for me to be scrolling. It's like...
Nah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, basically, I guess we just... Have you got the thread up in front of you, or should we
I'll pull it up again, even though I needed a lie down after it the last time, Simon, but let me just... Because I think I think I got a bit confused this morning, because did you send the same one twice, or are they different?
They are different. They should have been.
Nah, I got the same one.
Oh, no, they're not. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so the first one was supposed to be about Tesla.
Okay.
And that was, Tesla and the link to Donald Trump.
Okay. So...
and that one's pretty interesting and not so R-rated.
Maybe I will screen cap this. Just let me get in a position with it. Am I doxing myself in any kind of way? Not really, because people already know my Twitter, so they can't see either of us at this stage. I'm just doing a big screen cap, so over to you, Simon, to walk us through this one.
Yeah, okay, so I won't be able to see what you're looking at, or what, and it'll be a bit.
Do you want me to share inside, because I can do that? Oh no, I can't, because I wrecked the. So I'm just at the top, and I'll follow you as you go.
Yeah. Okay. So the lovely graphic, as you'll see, the pedos of the Caribbean. Epstein tales. So this all started. This all started from the Jeffrey Epstein case recently that got a lot more press than the first time he was charged. So this guy was charged with what ended up being like some real minor prostitution conviction, but I think it was in the mid 2000s he got convicted, went to prison.
Oh, you're talking about Epstein? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, so he went to prison, but it ended up being that he was allowed to leave like every day to go to work and all sorts. It wasn't at prison; it was a holiday.
But
yeah,
then
basically,
when it came pre-trial, all of a sudden he was suicided.
Yeah, so basically, this thread talks about the history of trafficking, so human trafficking for sexual purposes, not just slavery, and also the trafficking of children. And it starts off with some evidence of it happening back in the 80s, so what they're calling the Franklin cover-up of the 80s.
Yeah, the Washington Times reported on a homosexual prostitution inquiry.
Yeah, that's right. So there was something called the Boys Town. It was a home for orphans or and young boys anyway that couldn't live with their parents, and basically the president of the time and his close friends were taking these kids to the White House late at night, and who knows what was happening with them, but basically
the thing I don't get is, wouldn't the Secret Service be going, "Hi fuckers, what are you guys up to?"
The thing is they're probably all like at the high level involved in it, or they just, there's always, I guess, with the alphabet organizations, as I like to call them,
CIA, FBI, DEA,
NSA, all of that, is that there's always like a bigger fish, there's always a bigger purpose. So they just think, oh, if we don't collapse down on this one person, we can use him to go after somebody higher up. So there's probably an enormous amount of stuff that these agencies just let happen because they're just looking for the bigger fish.
So basically what we come to learn from this thread is it's basically impossible to stop pedophilia.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the same image, the cover-up image, and one of these sentences says, "What looked like a financial swindle soon exploded into a hideous tale of drugs, Iran-Contra money laundering, a nationwide child abuse ring, and ritual murder. 19 months later, the Legislative Committee chief investigator died suddenly and violently. More than a dozen people linked to the Franklin case." So all of these people back in the 80s and 90s that were looking at uncovering this group of young boys that were heading to the White House, they all died.
And then, like, I don't even know how to introduce the next bit about it, but if we click on more of the thread, we get to a place of, there was a documentary finally done after it was cancelled by the Discovery Channel, and all the copies of the documentary were burned. That was pretty weird. And then somebody working for the Clintons, correct me if I'm wrong, ended up working for the Amber Alert Agency. Simon?
I'm just trying to see where you're up to.
I'm just skimming my memory actually.
Oh yeah. It's a lot to delve into.
And then the
um,
high 80 issue,
mm,
the Clintons scraping the majority of $4 billion.
yep.
And then the
Is that Yeah, they collected billion used to pay for their daughter's wedding,
yep.
exposed by WikiLeaks. Chelsea Clinton used Clinton Foundation resources for her wedding.
And now
And they
she
also got Hillary's brother a gold mining license.
and then
And
he
the
did
same
he did
he did, yeah.
yeah he
That
did. And then Pizzagate, and this is where my stomach just. Did you see those photos?
yeah, I have.
Like I don't even know if I can show them. Like
Yeah,
honestly,
maybe. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you
I
might get
might
TOS.
I might get like banned. Honestly,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I might
You
have
probably
to. I might have
you
to
probably can't
switch.
even like scroll past it.
No, I might just switch scenes, come back to you, and I'll keep reading it. Like
Mm.
that's how not cool it is.
I
So
mean,
we're.
can we even talk about it?
Oh
Like,
yeah, we can talk about anything. It's called free speech. I mean,
okay,
look at that. I stopped right at the perfect moment.
yeah,
Can you
yeah,
believe it? Like, I'm actually grossing out right now. They refer to it as spirit cooking.
yeah,
For those of you following at home, like, I don't need to put it on screen. You can look at. Oh my god.
yeah. So these emails that came out from Hillary Clinton, were you familiar with the whole big email dump that happened right before the 2016 election?
Are you kidding me? It's all Trump would ever talk about.
Yeah, exactly. So just to summarize quickly, somehow WikiLeaks got a hold of Hillary Clinton's private email server that she was using. So instead of using the official email setup that you normally would use as a politician, she had got herself a private server and domain to run her emails from, and then somehow those were all leaked, and WikiLeaks released them all. Um, and in amongst those emails is basically what looks like coded language to discuss um, things like little girls and boys and ordering them to, and having little kids in the hot tub for parties and stuff like that. It's just crazy. Um, just a side note. So there was remember there was the big deal about, it was the Russians that hacked Hillary Clinton to release the emails, and that it was all sponsored by Donald Trump. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah,
Yeah. So one of the most critical bits of evidence against the fact is that the download speed of from the hack, or when they found the moment where all the emails were downloaded and stolen from the server, and they were saying that the download speed was um what's the right word, was indicative of a thumb drive not being transferred via the internet to a different country. Like the
yeah.
transfer of data was at such a speed that it could not have possibly been done through a network. And look,
A
so
dead giveaway would be if it was running at 200 megabytes. Even a
mm,
really good internet connection doesn't actually give you 200 megabytes.
yeah,
You
but
know what I mean?
downloading to
Yeah.
yeah to external storage.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's another thread by this guy that covers it, but there was a Democratic staffer by the name of Seth Rich, and then he is the one to have apparently um, downloaded these emails and given them to WikiLeaks. And he apparently, I think he was found with 2 bullets to the back of his head.
So what are we saying here? Like, for those listening on the podcast later on, it's probably worth saying these are not current tweets. I think when I look at the timestamp, this was like last year these were posted. But
just over a year ago.
Yep. So this is the first time I'm seeing them though, and of course, you hear about Jeffrey Epstein on the TV, and you somewhat become desensitized, eh?
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into the detail, it's like really gross. Really gross. So gross, I'm not even screen sharing anymore. We're just looking at your beautiful alpha male face, Simon.
Yeah, so I mean, just to give an example, of the sort of stuff that was part of the email dump. So I'll just read some. This is an email to John Podesta, from a lady who sells webcam time with her children. She says, and I thought I'd share a couple more notes. We plan to heat the pool, so a swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber service to transport Ruby, Emerson, and Maeve, 11, 9, and almost 7. So you'll have some further entertainment, and they will be in the pool for sure. Why is an adult man receiving an email of anything like that? Like, why? Why? What is the reason, as an adult human, you receive an email like that? That's not even all of it. That's just the bit that is just the most straightforward to just read out.
Is it like a condition you get as a billionaire or something? Is it like you have everything in the world? You get the new PlayStation before it comes out. You get the new Tesla before anybody can see it. Is it just this like mental condition where you know you can't have it, so that you ensure that you can? I'm not justifying it. I don't want people to like clip me and be like, whoa, what's Jay saying? Yeah, like, is Jay just sympathizer? I'm not. It's like, is it like, because it seems to, like, it's not exclusive to billionaires. I know pedophilia is all throughout society. You don't have to be a billionaire to be a pedophile, but sort of looking at this community of like billionaires or super influential people, do you think it's a bit about they just want what they can't have? Like, it's a question that I've asked myself.
I'm sure it's a bit of that, but also it's probably like you could only ever get near that sort of status without being that messed up, and it's like almost like a guarantee that you'll play the part and join the club, is that you participate. It's almost like an exclusive club, and the members at the top of the totem pole just won't let you get near it unless they know for a fact that you are like them.
Smiley TV, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Smiley wants to know what we're doing. We're talking about, to put it bluntly, human trafficking. More specifically, children. Oh my god, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm at the point where, in the thread where he starts talking about Epstein and who he's connected to, and he starts talking about the Clintons, the British royal family, and the Israeli Mossad. And the main reason I wanted to go through this with you is that it's finally current accepted knowledge that this Epstein dude was flying rich people around to get with little kids, or flying little kids around to meet these people. But nobody is taking it further, or not publicly anyway, and asking why. Like, why was this guy doing it? And this thread makes the connection that Ghislaine Maxwell, her father, was a Mossad agent, so the Israeli like secret force, special forces, Mossad, and there is dubious information about how Epstein came to be such a social figure, and that
But
he
he
was
was a
supposed to be
fiddler as well. He's got a series on Netflix. I'm sure of it.
yeah, but he apparently he was just a high school teacher that turned out to be a successful financial trader. You know, it's like the fact is that there's no like concrete evidence that this guy just legitimately made his money that way. And this thread gets to the point where it starts asking the question about, was this guy bankrolled to become this, what they call a honeypot, to lure in these high ranking officials and celebrities to then have dirt on them and use it and just be a blackmail manufacturer.
Yeah, it's like the question remains for me, because I think the series on Netflix talks to some of the survivors. I mean, this is 20 years on, so they've grown up, but they've still got scars on it. The question remains for me, yeah, where the fuck did he get his money from? Like, sure, he's got money. You can draw that conclusion very easily, but where from? Is it just from share trading? I doubt it.
Yeah. Just yeah. So it's even in the thread. So it talks about WikiLeaks themselves claims the emails came from a DNC leaker. As
DNC, that's the Democratic Party.
yeah. So that's the guy Seth Rich I was
Wow.
talking about. Oh yeah. So the DC police say it was a robbery, but none of his valuables are missing. The police also refused to release their body cam footage.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then the next bit is, what if it was clear that the DNC had rigged the primaries in the favor of Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders? Why didn't anyone sue? Someone did. This guy tried to sue to say that they rigged it, and two of his witnesses dropped dead. Seth Rich being one, and Sean Lucas is the other. So yeah, there was Seth Rich was going to be a witness in the case against the Democrats for rigging the primaries, and they killed him.
The Clinton body count, eh?
Yeah, that's also in the thread.
You know, they're referred to these days as the Clinton crime family. It's like that bad.
Yeah, same with the Biden crime family.
Yeah, funny how, like, the whole thing with Hunter Biden being investigated seems to have, like, been swept away nice and tidily. And the fact that Joe Biden withheld $1 billion because they were investigating his son. I forget what country that was. Do you remember?
Ukraine.
Ukraine, that's right.
It was a power company or something like that.
You stop the investigation of my son, or your government doesn't get a $1 billion relief package. Yeah, no, more specifically, he said you gotta fire the investigator. Jeez. So what are we to take from this? What are we teaching our people at home, Simon? What's a message that you would like to leave?
There's some seriously twisted groups of people that have an immensely powerful grip on the way things run globally. And that I guess the governmental structures that are in place in most of the powerful, what do you call, first world countries are largely for show.
Yeah, I just think it's like, it's so deep. I mean, who's doing the killing? Like, do the Clintons have like a squad of like ninja assassins, or like, and apparently you don't see them coming, because whenever they want you dropped, you're dropped. So like,
Yeah. And it's not just you getting dropped, it's that anybody who is then involved with cleaning up your body or reporting the crime either has to toe the party line of, oh, this was an accident, or it was a suicide, or there was a robbery gone bad, or they meet the same fate.
That's amazing. So, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen at home, fear for your lives, because the Clintons are still around.
So there's this guy called Anthony Weiner. He is a politician and convicted sex offender. And basically there's a massive drama about his laptop. So what happened is that the New York police picked up his laptop when he was charged and arrested and charged for some sex offenders. And they went through his laptop, and apparently the subject material on his laptop was so gross that it was causing these policemen to like vomit in the precinct, and they were just absolutely shocked by it. And then I think it was pretty much every single one of them that had any contact with the laptop committed suicide.
Oh, yeah, suicide. Yeah, I believe that. Bro. Hi, Hannah.
Hi, Jace. Hi, Simon.
You've been here for a good 10
Hi,
minutes.
Yeah, so I've just done a quick Google. Sorry, 9 out of 12 people who saw Anthony Weiner's laptop have ended up dead. 9 police suicides. 9 NYPD suicides.
You don't for a second believe there were suicides though, right?
I mean, it could have been somebody with a gun at their head saying, you put that noose around your neck or it's going to be a lot worse. It could have been suicide, but it's not like they chose to do that willingly.
I mean, like all at the same time, or within a short space of time?
Yeah, within a very short space of time.
I don't know, man. Trust the white boy to blow my mind.
Yeah, so we've started at the very beginning. I'm just looking at the thread. Very at the beginning, talking about how Epstein had some previous charges that were related to trafficking back in the mid-2000s. And so it was actually in 2008, the U.S. attorney for Miami, this guy last name Acosta, gave Epstein an illegal sweetheart deal. So apparently, this guy fed the FBI valuable information that allowed him to basically get the lightest sentence possible. A lot of the charges dropped, and the situation where he could walk in and out of prison as he chose. Acosta claims that Epstein was above his pay grade and that he belonged to intelligence. So that right there is quite powerful. So that means that there is an intelligence agency that is fully aware of what Epstein and that group are up to and just letting it happen.
And not that I want to follow this rabbit hole too deep, because I want to retain some of my sanity, but I heard some things about there being a active ring in New Zealand but I don't.
Oh, really?
I don't have any information. We'll have to take that away and do some cross-referencing. But New Zealand is definitely not immune to this shit. That's all I'm gonna say.
No. Well, do you remember there was that lady who her husband died, and she climbed the top of Mount Maunganui and went on Facebook and read out this letter crying about her husband basically being a pedophile, and that she was sorry for playing her part in grooming or not willingly, I don't think, but luring kids into this group. It was like a group of high, powerful, or just influential Māori, and it was on Facebook, and this woman basically went on Facebook and filmed this video at the top of Mount Maunganui, apologizing for her husband and what he did. Does that sound familiar at all?
I never saw that. If you have a link, I can definitely watch it after the show.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
But you remember, I received a couple of videos about a possible ring in New Zealand, and I'm just like, even like, it just seems like a big issue, though, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Like a really big issue. Like, where do you even begin to break it down? Especially when you got the people like the Clintons killing you if you get anywhere near solving the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy because this thread's so dense, and it just goes in so many directions, but it's all tied together. Albeit sometimes tenuously, but it's just it is just so hard to wrap your head around it completely.
Do you think we need to test that thread for validation bias, though? Like, do you think he went looking for some facts, so he made them facts, or are you worried about that, or do you accept it? Because I'm mindful of conspiracy theories. I mean, they're everywhere at the moment. 5G is transmitting COVID. COVID is not real. We're just trying to kill all the old people so we don't have to pay them pension.
Yeah, I mean, so all of this should be taken with a grain of salt, that it's not just outright fact.
I mean, I believe in the Clinton body count, and I can accept a lot of those facts in there, but I would just say to people at home, like, at risk of falling down a conspiracy sort of black hole, just like, take the information, verify it with something else, come to your own opinion. We're not
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that when I read this, not the one, but one of the things that really that made me rethink the way things were is the bit that covers Trump's involvement, because Trump was always the media's most common tie to Epstein. When they wanted to talk about a famous person that was tied to Epstein, they picked Trump. But there's multiple examples in this thread alone where Trump goes against Epstein, whether it's with property dealings and buying property that Epstein was interested in, or banning Epstein from all Trump resorts because he was trying to ask an underage girl to come work for him or something like that, and the fact that Trump only flew on his plane twice instead of Clinton's 26 times. It's like Trump wasn't really Epstein's buddy. Maybe he was initially, but he's proven himself to not be Epstein's biggest fan and actively done things to cross him. And That really challenged my opinion of him.
I mean, what I'd accept in terms of this is that they were both, upper tier society people. They were bound to be in the same place at the same time at some point. And it's unfortunate that Trump took the offer up to use Epstein's plane, but I would say that Trump had no idea what he was actually involved in. I think he would have believed that he was a financier, and if someone told me they were a financier and said, "Hey Jay, come out for the weekend on my private jet," I'd take them at their word that they do what they do, and I'd be like, "Yeah, bro, we'll come fly out." I don't background check everyone I meet. I just don't have the time for that, and that's not how you make friends, by filing a background check on everyone you meet.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, just to continue, part of the thread is that one of Trump's last executive orders in 2017 was to freeze all assets of those involved in human trafficking investigations. There you go.
I mean, I've said it once, I'll say it again. Donald Trump is an alpha male and by far the greatest president that's ever lived. I believe he's not down for that. I just... he's into, strippers and normal things. It's fine.
I'm just scrolling through the bottom just to see. So there's an interesting part. So below that is that it talks about the Obama policies in the southern border of the states, and what is this one? DNA tests reveal 30% of suspected fraudulent migrant families were unrelated. That's a nice stat to have in the back pocket.
I can't find that one. Where's that one?
It's quite deep in the thread.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what number it is. He doesn't number them, but yeah. So yeah, I guess that's why he's cracking down on that southern border, is that it's not just disadvantaged South American families coming to the States for a chance at a better life. A lot of it are unrelated people just turning up, and potentially there's some people taking younger kids across the border for nefarious reasons.
Just to lighten the mood for a second.
Yeah.
What do you think in regards to asylum policy in New Zealand? Do you feel like we're doing too much?
What is the asylum policy of New Zealand?
Well, I heard that we're allowing 70,000 people per year to come over to New Zealand. I can't be exact on how many of those are asylum. Probably should have done my homework on that before I mentioned it, but...
Well, that's alright. I'm your man. I love to Google things.
You're my Jamie. Pull that shit up.
Pull that shit up. Yeah, I'm looking to see what I can find.
I guess the reason why I asked that is obviously they touched on the housing issue in New Zealand, and I guess that there's a fine balance to strike between, being a good global partner and actually making sure there was economic opportunity for New Zealanders.
I don't know. It says each year New Zealand accepts 1,000 refugees, increasing to 1,500 in July this year. So that doesn't seem like 70,000 a year.
So that might be the total immigration then. But 1,500, are you even if we take that number, Is that cool?
Yeah, I mean, they have proper refugee centers where they stay all together in like a commune for like a month or so, and like slowly reintegrate them. It's not like we're just taking random people and dropping them in the country. And I think there's some good statistics that I can't pull out of my brain about the productivity and participation from refugees, is that they tend to work harder, take less sick days, and
They'll do the
don't
jobs that we don't want to do.
yeah, and they don't take up as many benefits on it on average as New Zealanders, which I mean to be expected, but yeah.
Yeah, cause I guess just contrasting with America that has to deal with, potentially millions of undocumented people. I guess we get off lucky. It's pretty hard to be undocumented coming to New Zealand because we got a big ass ocean.
That's right. Yeah, no, and we work in tandem with Australia as well. That I think they share a lot of information about boats and vehicles in the Pacific Ocean.
And we didn't Australia like sink a few?
I'm not sure.
I remember seeing that. Oh man. Deep thread, Simon.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading some of the comments to the thread. Someone's like, "Where are all the children now? Shouldn't we have seen them leave islands or heard of them reunite with their parents?" The guy who built the thread. They usually eat them after they're done. The elite own all the concrete companies, so you might want to check the foundations of any given building. And then someone's like, "Have you got any evidence for that first statement?" And he said, "Google adrenochrome." Have you heard of adrenochrome? It's another deep dark rabbit hole of its own.
I've not heard about that at all. Tell me about it.
So what I understand is that there is this chemical that is produced in the brain only in extreme cases of distress. So apparently this chemical is like some ultimate high, and also has life preserving properties. So there is this that it's not just the sex trafficking part of the attraction to little kids, but it's the fact that you can take little kids, apparently the younger the better, and you absolutely terrorize them, and their brain starts producing this adrenochrome, and so it's in their blood, and then you take the child's life and you consume the blood, and that's got this stuff called adrenochrome in it that is really good for them, apparently.
That's is absolutely fucking yuck, bro.
I know it is yuck. It's just like you just pray and hope that it's science fiction.
As a father, like, I can't even compute the idea that people would want to be extracting a hormone from a child by bringing them near death and then taking them to death.
Yeah.
Bro, like, why I gotta hang out with white boys, man? Like, this is... this is oh, bro. Oh, bro, like... But I guess the value that you bring is, like, we're using this podcast to highlight this shit. I mean, Joe does it. He has random conversations about this stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's important.
He's getting silenced as well. Like, there was an article recently that heaps of Spotify employees got together and had a meeting to try and ban some of his podcasts. So it was a specific one with a scientist who wrote a book or authored a paper about transgender and the impact it's having, the transgender movement or something, on having the impact on society. And all these employees basically had this big meeting and complained to the CEO that they felt alienated by this episode, and they wanted it removed.
Fucking hell. If Joe Rogan gets into there's no hope for any of us.
Yeah.
He's a pretty down the middle dude too. Like, I mean, sure, he's probably more Democrat, like he said so himself, but he's pretty straight up.
But the thing is though, for people on the left, it's weird, right? Like, the people on the left in the States, in terms of identity politics, have shot straight past us here in New Zealand. But in terms of, like, I don't know, the way the economy and society operates, they're still conservative in that manner, and that, like, they don't... Well, it's only very recently where they've started talking about, reducing the cost of tertiary education and removing private healthcare. But for them, they're so far past us in terms of giving hormones to kids who believe that their gender that they've been assigned.
Yeah, I'm not about that.
Is doesn't match what they feel in their head. Yeah, I mean, it's a conversation that I still am having with myself and trying to understand my position on it. But I've done some research, and there is no one clear, definitive indicator of someone being male and female. Apparently,
what? It's called balls.
No, but there are people who can end up with a mixture of sexual reproductive organs.
I'm pretty sure I've got a dick, bro.
Yeah, for the majority, for like 99%. This normal distribution of people across the planet end up with, a dick, of balls, or a vagina. But there are some people who fall somewhere in the middle and end up with not such a clear definition of what sex they might be.
Did I tell you my brother transitioned?
Yeah, you did a while ago.
Yeah, I was thinking. Now, Carla, I was thinking about having her on at some point with you on the show. I don't know if you'd be into that.
Yeah, I'd be keen.
Yeah. 'Cause, to be real, I haven't gone too deep with them on it. Like, it's just like a thing that sort of happened, and then rather than talk to them too much about it, I just got advice from other areas on just like how to deal. Doco, long time no see, welcome to the chat. Appreciate you coming out. Hope all is well. And where are you now? Because I know you were locked down for quite a while. Yeah, so not in the immediate future. I'm definitely not talking next week, but something we could pencil in.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at the Wikipedia page for sex and just trying to see how they determined. But yeah, there was like I'm not going to be able to get across the point. But yeah, I went looking because I was like, surely that sex is sex, right? Sex is male or female, and that there's no clouded discussion on that. but apparently there is. And then I was thinking,
Oh,
if
now
you are
look though, because there's those. There is like a less than 1% chance that you're born with both genders. Like that's a medical condition, but to use that as the basis for New Age gender theory when it's less than 1% of the population that experience that is not appropriate, and it's acknowledged as a medical condition, not like a third existence. It's not supposed to be that way, and we sympathize with those people, and making the decision about which gender to assign is a real tough one, because you can say, okay, do we snip the balls or do we close the vagina? And I'm sure there's a lot more detailed conversation that goes on, but I know of situations where the doctor did choose wrongly.
Yeah, that's right. You think, okay, so that piece of genetic material looks more formed, so we'll stop the development of that other thing, and then all of a sudden puberty happens, and they got it wrong. The other sex started overpowering, and the hormones produced don't match the genitals that they left on the body, and that would just be very unfortunate.
Gender dysphoria, however, where you have a clear assigned gender but you internally don't associate with it, that's also acknowledged as a formal mental health condition. So the question in the more conservative spaces is it more kind and loving to our members of community to just go along with what they're saying, or like with other mental health conditions, do we try to support them to understand what they're going through? Like,
exactly.
You don't let someone with schizophrenia continue to tell you that the Kurtans are talking to them and telling them to kill everyone. Like, you don't accept that. You seek to resolve it. You seek to get professional help, medical help. You do everything you can to get them connected with reality. You don't sit there and go, yep, the Kurtans are talking to you, and yep, I'll go get you a knife.
And in this discussion, there's like there's two parts that I see that are causing people mental distress as they grow up. So the standard default across the animal kingdom is that where there is a species that has male and female, you grow up, you attract the opposite sex, and then you procreate. Where the human race differs is that there is a subset of the population that grow up, they're attracted to the same sex, and then therefore can't procreate, and then have to deal and reconcile with the fact that they can't participate in what is considered the single most important thing you should do as a human on this planet, is continue the human race. And then what also is happening now is that people are looking at the bits between their legs and going, I don't actually think that that's right. I feel like a girl. And in that discussion, there's a lot of nuance. Is what do you think a girl should be? Is what characteristics of a girl or a guy do you associate with that you can't currently engage with, right? So if you're a young boy growing up and you think I should be a girl, what is it that you associate with being a girl that thinks that you need that you can't get whilst also remaining as your
I love that question, because at the same time I don't associate being a boy with playing with trucks and playing rugby. That's not necessarily what a boy is all about, but being a boy is like, I think, well, that this is just me having a go. This is my opinion. I've never been a woman, so I wouldn't know. Women tend to lean towards um, nurturing and playtime and togetherness, whereas boys, they want to play war games. Like, it's inbuilt in us from a very early age about this is my turf and I want to push you off my turf, and roughhousing is all a part of the inbuilt protective nature that we have. You know the reason why boys get dirty, I suppose, is because they roll around the ground like kicking each other's asses. That then later in life we continue to play war games. Why by playing war games with a ball and calling it sport. Like you know that's just what we do. And sure, women play sport too, so they can play a version of war games, but I think men lean into it a bit more.
Yeah, and yeah, what I struggle to understand is that that people who think that their gender doesn't match their genetic makeup. I feel like I'm going back in a circle with this, but yeah, it's not what they associate being a girl, but is it that you feel like you should have different body parts? Like, is that it?
For some it is. For some it is. They will literally lob that shit off or sew some shit on. Like it means a lot to them to see the right body part. And for me, the facts that I have, and when I say facts, I don't have references today, sorry, but the dysphoria doesn't actually go away once they have that additional or lesser body part, and it can lead to a peak in the dysphoria where they see the only other option left is suicide. So they think they need to see a different genitalia, then they see that different genitalia, it doesn't change how they feel inside, so there's only one option left. So certainly for some, it is about body parts, but in the example of, well, Caitlyn Jenner, I think I read that Caitlyn didn't make that decision to take it off.
No, and Caitlyn is a lesbian.
Exactly. So still into woman regardless of where she's at. He's at. Don't know.
Yeah. I mean, is there some scientific evidence on brain chemistry, but even chemistry? So, I was thinking maybe there's something, in hormone.
Real quick, Simon.
Feel like
Doco says she's a very inspiring woman, a national treasure. I don't know if you're being sarcastic there, Doco, but definitely.
We're to idolize someone who has a hit and run murder charge.
Definitely from a family of notoriety, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Notoriety for a blowjob. You were saying, sorry?
I was just saying, if she's an inspiring woman, it's weird to idealize someone who has a hit and run murder charge.
Yeah.
But so it's nothing scientific about our thoughts, right? Like, you can think anything, absolutely anything in the world can be thought of and believed. Like, you can just think something enough times and you believe it. It doesn't matter how wrong it is, but if it's about yourself, something like your gender, it's just so hard to get any sort of proof that what you're thinking is correct.
Yeah, and
it makes this conversation so hard to have.
And I mean, to bring it close to home, because I said what I said about my family member. It's sort of like I feel bad in a way because I don't relate like at all. At all. Like I'm just like, yeah, you know, I'm just like, you're my brother though. Like, can't you just be my brother again? Can't you just take those clothes off and not be that? But it's taken me a while to get to a place of acceptance because ultimately they're my family member and I care for them and want them in my life. I don't want them feeling despair for the fact that they're not accepted by us as a family. So really important just to find a way.
Yeah, and it's rough, right? Like because us as individuals don't understand where they're coming from. Your natural inclination is to then inquire and to try and validate their experience, which is, you know, some people say that is unfair, and I get it. Like nobody would enjoy a life where they just constantly have to validate themselves to others. But I just have an insane amount of curiosity about things in the world. Like I need to know how things work. And I just don't know how we understand it without asking people who are experiencing it firsthand.
But like my mum would say things like, "Oh, I always saw the signs. You know, there were these little things as he was growing up. Like, I felt like he could have been like different. All this." I've got another brother, and me and my other brother, we're just like, we don't even know what you mean, like at all. It was like see signs. I think it's that confirmation bias again, Simon. You know, it's easy to say, oh yeah, looking back I could see signs, but like, why? That's so like random to say that.
But what about Pacific Islander cultures that have an established part of their community that accepts, well, most...
You mean like Whawhawhine? Whawhawhine?
Yeah, and apparently there is historical examples of it happening with Māori culture as well, in that there were, the same thing happening in the islands there was in New Zealand.
Well, I mean, going back to what I said at the beginning, we're talking about a formalized psychological condition called gender dysphoria. So, just like AIDS could have existed 100 years ago, so could dysphoria. I don't discount it at all. But I guess other Pacific cultures found a way to accept and integrate rather than shun, for lack of a better term, because I think more Anglo-Saxon cultures want to shun anything of difference.
Yeah. Well, that's what they started with, but now we see in this like current climate is that they just do what they can to fit these outliers into the status quo, right? So we're talking about the majority of people, male, female, have a relationship, make kids. So they take this subset of the community that don't fit that, and that they identify the different gender, and instead of just accepting those people and just saying, yeah, okay, your body parts don't match your gender, you're fine like that, don't hurt yourself. What they're doing now is they're saying, okay, yeah, you identify as a different gender, let's fill your body with chemicals and take you through all these elective surgeries so that you can fit into this narrow mind of what family life in society is, which is male and female.
You know, coming to Doko's question, can I ask what's the problem? Why the upset? I'm gonna stick my neck out here and say I'm not upset. I don't think Simon's upset. I don't even think Simon's uncomfortable. I'm not uncomfortable. we're just two people sort of, as I say in my work, spinning the cube. That's all we're doing. We're having a look. We're spinning the different levels around, and sort of having a conversation, not even to arrive at a position. I don't even think this is about a position, right, Simon? It's just something like you're interested in.
Yeah, like I said before, I don't want people to be continuously validating their own self to others, and I am an extremely curious person, so I'm just curious. I would love to understand. That is why we're having this conversation, because I, as somebody who identifies with the the genitals that I was given, I just cannot easily understand how their brain works, and I would love to understand so that I could best serve them when I interact with them, I guess. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to offend anybody or cause them harm by ignorance.
Doko says, I walked in halfway. I should ask what sparked this. Yeah, how did we... I don't know, man.
You're gonna have to go back and watch and see where the moment.
Yeah, scrub it back, but I think we it started with gender equality. I'm gonna put my thumb on it. We were talking about gender equality earlier in the show, and Simon believes women should get a week off every month for menstruation. Am I right, Simon?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Hannah agrees.
I don't think she agrees. Do you agree? She like gapped it. We were too dark and deep for her.
I do not agree with Simon.
Yeah, she doesn't agree. She's whipped Simon. I've whipped her into conservative shape.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think at the top of the show we talked about gender, because actually I can throw it up. This is really why it ended up. Doko.
Since we've got Doko, who's a bit active in the chat, chuck the question up.
So the question of the day, Doko, we definitely want you to answer this. Actually, who is more oppressed, a feminist white woman or a black man? Pretty simple question. Would love to know what you think in the chat. Actually, Hannah, we haven't had your answer yet. Whenever you're ready.
Just give me a second.
Both of them not enough. I'm gonna need you to unpack that. It's a bit of broken English, Doko. Need a bit more than 5 words. Is he saying that we need to oppress both more? That's pretty dark. So. That's pretty dark. But Hannah always gets a preview on my weekly questions, so she's had time to percolate with this one, haven't you, Hannah?
I don't know. I didn't hear your answer.
I haven't given it yet.
You never did.
Yes, you're right. It just streamed a bit too dark, and after my appointment, I was pretty tired, and I started to yawn, and I thought, that's a bit boring. There's a very deep and meaningful topic. I should be awake for it.
But real fast. Who is more oppressed? A feminist white woman or a black man?
Well, I think there's two sides to it.
There sure is.
I believe neither, but if you look at it, it depends on what era and what time in life you're talking about, and what country. Like, I'd say a black man if you're talking about America, and I don't see how.
No, I mean black as in I am black.
Like you're black right
I
now.
am black. So who is more oppressed? A feminist white woman or a black man? Are you oppressed?
Yeah, I think Hannah's comment about there being some difference in geographic region. I'm not. I don't care about. I don't care about like.
He's
history
buying
versus
in
today.
America's racist. America's
No, that's not what I
oppressive.
said. No way.
God.
No, I'm just saying that across the world there are variances, and that let's just take Arab countries, for example. They're all black men. They ain't oppressed at all, but they're women. In some ways, they're oppressed in that they have to have their clitoris cut off and stuff like that.
Okay. Bear in mind the question doesn't reference any geographical location. You're allowed to answer in any way you want. So you were saying?
No,
Sorry.
he said white woman, so my argument is immediately invalidated.
But I'd
So
agree
you've
with
gotta
you
talk-
too. Something for the effect of just saying woman in Arabic countries.
No, so you got to think about places in the world where there are white women and black men.
Yeah.
Ooh, Doco says, so I needed to take that in a bit more. So it's a born skin color versus an adopted ideal. Well, that's up to you, Doco. We're still waiting for you to answer the question. A born skin color versus an adopted ideal.
Now, I was assigned feminist at birth.
Beta! I thought about this first, how BLM movement, since that's an adopted ideal. So a black man is oppressed more. Feminists deserve it. Have you seen them? Crazy ass people. Love it, Doco. So raw and genuine.
That's how I feel, honestly.
So raw. I love it.
And I don't know if Jake was serious about you saying women should take a week off.
No, he did say that. Not in a different leaning, but that's what I took from it.
I think maybe workplaces, what they could do is maybe be a bit more lenient and allow some women to have a few extra sick days, so they're not running around the office on those official first days, not even sick days, to the ability to work from home, so they're not running around the office being utterly horrible to everybody else around them and destroying the office culture.
So Doco says they aren't fighting anything but stupidity. A black man is just trying to live, you know.
Yeah. That's the thought that I had.
Man, like, this is deep. That just goes to show I'm getting really good at coming up with these questions, because as a black man myself, and it's not lost on anyone on this channel, I'm sure, I'm black and I'm disabled, and not for a second my whole entire life have I felt oppressed. Well, whatever positions I've been in, whatever advantages or disadvantages I've had, whether perceived or imagined, I've just been like, this is what it is. I'm not oppressed. Like when people succeed, that's great. When I succeed, that's great. Like, my success, my position in life is completely down to me, and there will be times in my life where I need more support than other times. That doesn't mean that I'm oppressed. It means that I'm alive.
Would you say that you have had a bit of an advantage with a white-sounding name. Have you seen all those studies? Have you seen those studies though, where they sent in a bunch of CVs to different applications, and that it was the same CV, but they changed the name to sound more ethnic or more standardly white, and there was like a significant percentage increase in likelihood of getting an interview or a call if your name was white rather than black sounding.
I'm just gonna put that one back down to confirmation bias. I mean, if you're looking for racism, you're gonna find it. You'll remember last week I had a complete and utter meltdown over that disability allowance story. Clip of that is also on Facebook, by the way. !social if you want to check that out. Yeah, I think if you look for racism, you'll find it. If you believe you're not getting selected for jobs because you got an African sounding name, or your mum named you Mercedes, that's for you. Maybe you didn't get selected because you just didn't have the right skills or the right level of networking. Sometimes you don't even need a whole bunch of skills. You just gotta know someone who knows someone who knows someone. And may I say, that's been the key to my advancement. I don't have like massive degrees or like much to hang my name off of, except for my reputation and my track record for hard work, which I suppose is something to hang my name off of these days. But it took me a while to get there, and it was raw. Yeah.
It's the same with me. I don't rely on the badges and qualifications I stick on my CV. I've gotten everywhere I have so far based on personal connections and having conversations with people, like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
I got my first job just based on talking to a fella over the counter in the cafe. So.
And I think it's a good thing, Simon. And whatever success you achieve, I'm going to be immensely happy for. Whatever we're able to do with this podcast together, I'm going to be immensely happy for. And it's like, I just don't sit there and go, oh, that person's got more than me. It's more important to look at where you are right now and say where you're trying to go, and then try to map the pieces to get yourself there. Stop thinking about other people. Stop comparing yourself to others, and you might actually have a somewhat happier life.
And I think that's twofold. It's not just about you having a happier life. I think it's something that you do outwardly. Also, you will stop judging other people then, and you will stop in turn oppressing other people. And if that is what you do, but that is how I see it also.
I mean, you make those silent, immediate judgments of people, like, and I'm so grounded in the fact that when people see me roll into the room, they're not gonna think that I'm this very experienced policy god. They're just gonna say, "Hey, look, there's a black dude in a wheelchair," and I'm very clear that that's where the mindset goes in the first instance, because it's just human nature to judge people on face value. There's no markers on myself that would indicate me as a policy god unless I got merch that literally said it. And then maybe we could do it that way.
You're a bit of a walking advertisement for a tokenistic tick box exercise, aren't you?
Well, it's funny because people have asked me, are you worried about the fact that some of your opportunities might have come from an affirmative action type mindset, even though it's not a big thing in New Zealand. Affirmative action, it's not like a formal thing. It is sort of an underlying thing that can happen. I mean, sure, it's possible, but at the same time, Like, that's their shit, not mine. Whoever gave me the opportunity, that's for them. If they did it because I'm black and I'm disabled and they want to feel all warm, fuzzy, that they gave me an opportunity, that's cool. But at the same time, to anybody at home watching this later who's disabled, you still got to do the work, though. Right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter how you got in the door. Still got to do the work, and if you fail to do the work, it's going to be harder and harder for you to get references. So you don't want to live that life. You want to do what you were there to do and shut the fuck up, basically. And that's what I've always done.
Amen.
And with that, I don't know if you see that as a good place to leave it. We've been streaming for close to 2 hours. Epic stream.
Epic. It went in all sorts of random directions. But again, I enjoyed it. I really did.
No, I did as well, and I want to make this a regular thing if that's all right. I'm gonna put you on the spot live.
Yeah, granted, there's always life things that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think we can try and get some sort of momentum going.
Yeah, and if you can't make it, I'll just do open mic nights. Those can be really savage. Here on the Jade Farrow Show, we've had some pretty savage open mic nights.
We have.
Yeah.
But before sorry, you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe if the timing has a bit of flexibility, like if
100%. My God.
Yeah. Just with but other than that, keen as man.
You know, before or after you smash, we never work, Simon. Yep. That was a joke. Anyway.
Like, I could have been here if we were able to shift the stream, you know, half an hour or 45 minutes.
Yeah. Whenever works, man.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, that's sorry, I just got distracted by my phone.
Oh, good. Anyway, wrapping up now, is there any final comments you want to make to the people at home?
Yeah. Question all authority, question what is the force-fed narrative if there's everybody telling you to think like this, or that this is always the way things are done, or this is the
take a vaccine.
Truth. Yeah, just think for yourself. It's been said throughout history, and it's just something that I think is slowly dwindling. People's individual common sense and the ability to question what is actually happening. And
I love it.
There's some seriously sick shit happening around the world. It may not impact you on a day-to-day life, but as a human who lives on this earth and wants everybody to have an enjoyable life at some level, I think that shit's fucking disgusting.
Oh, there's no doubt. We learned some dark shit today, and I look forward to more of these episodes and unpacking all the dark corners of our society, Simon. So keep bringing the gems, because even as uncomfortable as it was, I learned a lot. And if I was gonna talk about it with anyone, it would probably be you. So thanks, man. From me, just let me see if I can change the scene here. We'll go to that one. From me, just to say thank you to everybody for watching. If you want to know how to find me on social media, !social in the chat. I want to thank Simon for taking his personal time to be on the podcast this evening. Really enjoy collaborating in whatever realm and sense that we can. So thank you, Simon, and thank you for being a part of the channel. Thank you for being a part of the journey.
Please stay awesome, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Have a fabulous night.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Ciao.